Hello, in this video we are going to talk about static method. The static method is general utility method that performs a task in isolation. Inside this method, we don't use instance or class variable because this static method doesn't have access to the class attributes. A static method is bound to the class and not to the object of the class. Therefore, we can call it using the class name. A static method does not have access to the class and the instance variable because it does not receive an implicit first argument like self or class itself. Therefore, it cannot modify the state of the object or a class. Calling a static method or a regular function does not cost memory allocation. Static methods are special case of method. Sometimes you will write a code that belongs to the class, but that doesn't use the object itself at all. It is a utility method that doesn't need an object to complete its operation. So we declare it as a static method. Also, we can call it from another method of a class. Now let's see how we can create a static method using a decorator called static method. Now let's see how to create a static method using static method decorator. No need to worry about what is decorator, we are going to cover that in the later section. A static method decorator is a built-in function decorator in Python to declare a method as a static method. It is an expression that gets evaluated after our function is defined. This is our class employee, in that we have constructor with 4 parameters to initialize, with 3 variables which are instant variables. Then we have this decorator which gives this particular method a special meaning, tells the Python that this is a static method. Then we have an instance method, work, and just we already saw in a theoretical notes that this class static method can be called from an instance method. So this is our instance method, and you can see using self I can just call this static method just like self dot static method name, then inside that self and the parameter for that static method. And you can see I'm creating the object of a class employee with 3 values, Kelly, 12,000, ABC project, and then I'm calling this instant method inside which this method is calling the static method. And you can see the result: completed task 1, completed task 2, and completed task 3. Because we passed the ABC project, this condition is satisfied and this value is written, the list of task 1, task 2, and task 3. So you can see here, this is how we can call static method from an instance method, and this is how we declare a static method using a decorator. Now let's see the advantages of static method. It consumes less memory. So instant methods are object too, and creating them has a cost. Having a static methods avoid that. On the other hand, static method has only one copy per class, which we are going to see in the code. This is our class employee. Then we have a constructor and all the instant variables. Then we have a static method using static method decorator. And then we have an instance method, in that we are going to call the static method. And this is how we invoke the object employee, these 3 values, Kelly and Jessa. And here if you see Kelly, the object dot work is Jessa dot work. So we are going to see whether these two are same. And if I see Kelly dot work and then Jessa dot work, the 2 objects are referring to the same instant method, but when I compare it, it is going to return false because separate copy of an instant method is created for each object. But when I do same for a static method, you can see here Kelly.gather requirement is Jessa.gather requirement is going to return true because only one copy is created. Kelly and Jessa objects share the same method. Likewise this, you can do this also. using object or using class name. To write a utility function, the second use or advantage of a static method. Static methods have a limited use because they don't have access to the attribute of an object and class attribute. So static method does not have access to the instance variables and class variables. However, they can be helpful in the utilities such as conversion from one type to another. Then in readability, seeing the static method at the top of the method, we know that the method does not depend on the object state or a class state. So we can call this method without object or with object, which we are going to see next. Now we are going to see how we can access static method without an object. So this is your simple class. Inside that we have a static method, and then you can see using just class name dot your static method name, we can access that static method. Then we can also access the static method with an object. There is no restriction. So you can see here, this is the same class name, and then we can create an object, and then we can access the static method using an object. So both ways are possible. The static method helps in achieving abstraction in a Python class since it is not aware of the state of the current instance. Next, we are going to see how we can call static method from another method like class method. So we have a class. In that we have a two static method and one class method. And we are going to call a class method. Using the syntax class name and class method name. Inside that, using the class, because class method requires class as a first argument, so class dot static method 2, we can call the static method, and inside that static method using the class name, we are calling the static method 1, which is going to print static method 1. So this is how we can use class method to call a static method and a static method to call another static method. So that's all about the static method. Thank you.